Hello friends, welcome to Tarun IAS. Today we will be discussing editorial analysis from the newspaper. I have taken this editorial from the Indian Express of 26th of November 2022. So let's start with the editorial. The topic of the day is millets in India. So I will be discussing almost all aspects of the millets in India. You can relate this with your general studies paper 3 syllabus, the cropping pattern. Right, so millets are important because we know that 2022 is going to end and we are going to enter in the year 2023, which was declared as the International Year of Millets by the United Nations General Assembly on initiative taken by New Delhi. So the context is basically that India has signaled for the preparations of the International Millet Year of 2023, which was designated last year, that is in the year 2022, as the International Year for Millets, following the initiative of the New Delhi. So at the pre-launch of the celebration, our External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar, he had said that the COVID conflict and climate, they have become the world's main food security challenge, and he said that the cultivation and the popularization of the millets in this context, which is going to have a wider impact when we speak of the de-risking the global economy. So if we look at the impact of the COVID-19 and if we look at the impact of the lockdown, so nutrition has become a major issue, and with the rising instances of the zoonotic diseases, and with the focus of the government and the political leadership worldwide on immunity building, etc., so millets, they have become a major highlight. So let's talk about what the millets are. So basically, millet is described, it is used to describe the small seeded grasses, and they are the cereals. They are basically cereals. So all millets are cereals, but not all cereals are millets, right? So sorghum, we have jawar, that is jawar, we have bajra, we have kangil, we have ragi, we have kutki, kodo, poroso, barnyard, and brown top millet. So these are some of the varieties of the millet. I will show you these millets in the picture also. So if you look at this is the barnyard millet, this is the little millet, this is kodo, right? This is foxtail, this is we have jawar, and this is finger millet, right? Now, if we consider the history of millet, so basically millets were the first crop to be domesticated by human. So and the consumption and the evidences for their consumption, goes back to the Indus Valley civilization. That means approximately to 2500 BC to 3000 BC. So and several varieties that are now grown around the worldwide, they were first cultivated in India. Right. So barley, if we look at some of the crops that were initially cultivated or domesticated by the human, they were wheat, and we had this barley, and millets were also amongst the crop that were first domesticated by humans. There are more than 130 countries that grows millet, and which has become traditional food to the people in these countries, and mainly it is the Africa and Asian countries which grows millet. Millet, what are the peculiar qualities that make millet so popular in the low income countries, in African countries, and in Asian countries? First, they require less water, and they are mainly grown in rain-fed areas. So if we consider the agriculture census of 2015-16, which is the latest agriculture census, so according to the data provided by this Center of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, approximately 34% of the gross cropped area is under irrigation. That means the rest of the area is monsoon dependent. So that is the reason why we say that they are the rain-fed areas. So that means they are the crops mainly grown in the dryland areas. All right, for example, the Malwa region, we have we have Rajasthan, we have Madhya Pradesh, we have Bundelkhand and Bakhelkhand. These are the regions which receive less rain or deficient rainfall. Therefore, the crops that should be grown in these regions should be sustainable and should require less water, but they should be nutritive, and at the same time they should be fetching rational income to the farmer. That means there should be more price realization to the farmers when it comes to growing these crops. And globally, sorghum is the major millet which is grown. The major producer of the jowar is Australia. Australia also, the major portion of the country is deserted. I mean, it's dry. We have India also. We have India. We have Argentina, Nigeria, and Sudan. Bajra is mainly grown in India and some South African countries. All right. So this is the millets map of India. So if we look at the states where millet is grown, then the major states where millet is grown is going to be the Haryana, Rajasthan. We have Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. These and Uttarakhand, of course. So these are some of the major states which are growing millets. However, the nature of the crop or the variety of the millet that is grown, it varies from state to state. Some state will be growing bajra. For example, Rajasthan. Rajasthan is the largest producer of bajra. Then we have Maharashtra. So then we have Karnataka. So depending upon the state, the variety of the millet grown will change. But these are some of the major states where the millet is grown, right? So if we look at the area under cultivation of jowar cultivation, it is 4.24 million hectare, right? And the production is 4.78 million tons of production. And Bajra constitute about 7.75 million hectare of area. This is 2020 to 21 data. This is the last to last year's data, all right. So millets are like I have already discussed that more than 130 countries grow millets, and half a billion, that is 500 million people, are dependent upon millets. And in the year 2018, the government of India had declared millets as the nutri-cereals, and it started to promote the distribution of millets under the PDS program. We would also discuss the consumption pattern of millets, then why it is important for the government to push a distribution of millets through PDS. All right. And so these are some of the major millets according to the Agriculture Ministry which are grown in India. The foxtail millet, we have finger millet, the barnyard millet, the brown top, little, kodo, pearl, proso, and sorghum. All right. So as a crop, if we say, then they are basically the kharif crop. During 2018-19, three millet crops, they accounted for about 7% of the gross cropped area in the country, and these were bajra, jowar, and ragi. So bajra, jowar, and ragi are the three millet crops that constitutes about 7% of the gross cropped area in the country, right? And the major millet that is grown in India is bajra. So when we say that millets are high nutritive value, and they have the high nutritive value, and we have to push them through PDS. Why the government wants to popularize millets as a food crop and increase their consumption in the rural as well as in the urban area? So if we look at the national health survey, latest national health survey, that is the National Health Survey 5, according to this data, approximately 50% of the women within the age group of 15 to 49 years, they suffer from anemia. And when we discuss the health problem or health issues of women, these are not just the health issues, rather they are the social issues, uh, because it will then constitute a vicious cycle of malnutrition. A mother who is during her pregnancy is nutritionally deprived or suffers from the malnutrition, then she will give birth to a child who will have low birth weight, and that means the child is going to further suffer from malnutrition, deficiency of nutrition, and what we call as hidden hunger. The child is going to suffer from hidden hunger. A child during its developmental years, if suffers from the malnutrition, is going to have low IQ level. There will be low brain development or low cognitive development. This will then constitute a vicious cycle of having low IQ, low skills, etc., etc. Low skills, low cognitive development, low learning skills, low learning output, and then the opportunity to have a good job or employment is going to reduce. That, which means the social issue is now becoming an economic issue, and then it will be further raised as a political issue. So a cycle is generated here. So therefore we need to have a crop which is not only affordable but accessible to the people, and which also not only fulfills the food requirement but also the nutritional requirement of the population. And therefore the government of India is pushing millets as popularizing millets and also pushing it through the PDS. So we will discuss through that how much millet is being pushed through PDS. We will talk about that also, and what are the problems in the PDS system that are not effectively popularizing millets. So on April 2018, the ministry had declared millets as the nutri cereals, and they were mainly jowar, bajra, and ragi. The minor these are the major millets. The minor millets are Kangani, Kakam, Chena, Kodo, Saba, Kutki, etc. So millets they consist of 7 to 12% of the protein. They have 2 to 5% of the fats. They have 65 to 75% of the carbohydrates, and 15 to 20% of the dietary fibers. So this is the nutritive value of the millets. Now we speak of the millets through the PDS system. So what is the PDS system? Right, according to the National Food Security Act of 2013, not working. The pen is not working, so let's just we'll discuss through the slides, right? So the eligible households, they are entitled to get rice, wheat, coarse grain at rupee 3, rupee 2, and rupee 1 per kg respectively. While the act does not include millets, but coarse grains are included in the definition of the food grains under section 2, clause 5 of the act. So, what are the problems afflicting the PDS system and the millet distribution? Basically, according to the ministry, the latest data which is available, there are negligible quantities which are procured for the central divisible pool, and negligible quantities are then distributed under the national. This is not matinal, this is the spelling mistake, please don't mind. This is national, okay? So National Food Security Act. The latest data on stocks with the Food Corporation of India, FCI, they show only 2.4 lakh metric tons of coarse grains which were available in the central pools as on 1st of November 2022. The stock of rice, wheat, and unmilled paddy were, however, 265.97 million uh, tons and 210.46 million ton, 263.70 million tons. So, what are the problems? Basically, the push to distribute coarse grain via PDS system, it has not gained momentum. The Centre has accepted the recommendation of the committee that it had constituted to include millets in the PDS. The Agriculture Minister said the time has come to shift focus of the distribution program from basic calories to more diverse food basket. All right. The government has also set the target to procure 13.72 million tons during the Kharif season of 2020 to 23 financial year. That means more than double the last year's procurement during the Kharif season, which was 6.30 million tons. So, if we consider the MSP for millets, because MSP has become one major factor that decides the cropping pattern in India. In fact, in the UPSC previous year, there was one question that had been asked, that how MSP is distorting the cropping system or the cropping pattern in India. So, the crops which gain more MSP, and they becomes highly profitable to the farmers, and farmers, they try to push to grow those crops even in the rain fed areas. For example, rice and wheat are grown, which are water. Rice in fact is a water guzzling crop, it requires a lot of water, and the technique that Indian farmers follow is the standing water technique, where the small plants of paddy, they are sown in the standing water. So therefore it requires lot of water. So millets are highly or best suited for the rain-fed regions. However, the MSP which is declared for the jowar, bajra, and ragi only, and rest of the millets or the minor millets, they are ignored. So let's look at the MSP which are given for the jowar, bajra, and ragi. It is for jowar it is 2970 per quintal. For bajra it is 2350 per quintal. For ragi it is 3578 per quintal. The main millet states are jowar is mainly grown in Maharashtra. So now what you can do is in your exam, if a question on millet is asked, then you can draw a map of India and locate which state produce which millet. So jowar is mainly produced in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana and Madhya Pradesh. The area under jowar, we already discussed through the picture, that is 4.24 million hectares. The Maharashtra accounts for the largest area under the production, that is 1.94 million hectare. Bajra is mainly grown in the state of Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Rajasthan has the highest area under cultivation of millets, that is 4.32 million hectare. Alright, so now let us look at the consumption pattern. So if we look at the consumption pattern in the rural areas, then it's still lower. I mean, in the urban areas, the monthly per capita consumption is lower than the rural areas. The jowar is 139 gram. You no need to remember all these data, but you can just mention that the consumption as per the National Sample Survey, the NSSO survey, the consumption of millet is still lower in India. And when we compare the rural and the urban consumption, then urban consumption is still lower than the rural consumption. So consumption has been mainly reported from the state of Gujarat, from Karnataka, from Maharashtra and from Rajasthan and Uttarakhand, etc. etc. Alright, so now let us talk about the political significance of this. So millets are basically grown in the low income countries and the developing countries, and they constitute, and 60 crore people include millets in their food baskets globally. And Karnataka and Rajasthan, you can basically ignore this point, it is not of that importance. But however, if we start including health issues and agriculture issues apart from the politicization of the MSPs, etc., etc., if we start including the main agriculture and health issues in as the political, as the election manifesto, as the election agenda, etc., by the parties who are going to participate in election, then yes, the Karnataka and Rajasthan state, which are going to witness the state assembly election next year, the activities around the celebration can be potentially leveraged by the government to popularize millets, etc., etc. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching Tarun IAS. I hope you understood this topic about millets and you will be able to write good answer if a question is asked in the mains examination. If you require the PDF, you can download it from our Telegram channel and the link will be given in the description below. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.